welcome to another series of BK Play, and this time we're tackling Max Payne, the 2001 bullet time noir-inspired shooter by Remedy. This is actually the PlayStation 2 version. Now, why am I doing this one? I'll get into that later, but let's jump into the plot, because this game has a lot of plot, alright?
Stand by. 1010. Investigator reported disturbance at Acer Plaza.
10-4 dispatcher. Verify address.
That's Acer Plaza. Repeat. Acer Plaza.
Shots fired on the rooftop. An assault in progress at Acer Plaza. Repeat. An assault in progress.
They were all dead. The final gunshot was an exclamation mark to everything that had led to this point. I released my finger from the trigger, and then it was over. To make any kind of sense of it, I need to go back 3 years. Back to the night the pain started. I was still in the force back then. NYPD, Manhattan, Midtown North Precinct, Hell's Kitchen.
So when are you coming to work for me, Detective Payne?
You'd make me work undercover in some hellhole. Sorry, Alex. Michelle and the baby come first. See? My last smoke. It's bad for the baby.
That's you, Max. A regular Boy Scout.
See, Alex.
You're still on for poker Thursday night, right?
Like taking candy from a baby. Life was good. The sun setting on a sweet summer's day. Smell of freshly mowed lawns, the sounds of children playing, a house across the river on the Jersey side, beautiful wife and a baby girl. The American dream come true. Honey, I'm home. But dreams have a nasty habit of going bad when you're not looking. The sun went down with practiced bravado. Twilight crawled across the sky, laden with foreboding. Michelle, honey, anybody home? I didn't like the way the show started. They'd given me the best seat in the house, front row center.
And this is the prologue section.
What the hell?
Oh, okay, yeah, here's the thing about this playthrough. I'm constantly going to be in a tug of war between what I'm trying to say and what Max is trying to say, because this game is... Okay, yeah, because if I was going to say something, because he is quite the vocal protagonist, but that's not a bad thing, actually. He is very well written, very well voiced as well. What am I supposed to do this, I think?
Listen, someone's broken into my house. Call 911.
Is this the Payne residence?
Yes, someone's broken into my house. They're still here. You have to...
Good. I'm afraid I cannot help you.
Who is this? Hello?
You know, it's so weird, like, observing a character of this kind before they become who they are, right? Because every character needs to have, like, their little origin moment, right? So this is, like, basically Max Payne's, like, okay, this is who he was before...
Michelle!
Before he became a video game character, and this is how everyone becomes a video game character, I think, by having their wife shot.
Michelle!
Please! Jesus Christ, yeah, okay, this game kind of starts a little heavy.
Freeze! NYPD, drop!
In fact, actually this whole game is pretty damn heavy. Now, you're probably noticing...
No, please God, no.
So sorry, Max, but you're probably noticing that my camera moves in a slightly different way. That's not just because I'm using these kind of controls for the PlayStation 2 version, which I'll get into later as to why I'm playing it, but it's also because this game has an absolutely fantastic...
No, God, no, please, Michelle. Oh, baby.
I just wanted to say this game has an absolutely fantastic auto-aiming system, which will come in very handy later on. So anyway, time for some trauma. Jesus Christ. No!
That was 3 years ago. Everything ripped apart in a New York minute. The killer junkies had been high on a previously unknown designer drug, Valkyr, V. After the funeral, I told Alex I'd be transferring to the DEA. It took us 3 long years to get a break in the Valkyr case. Then, finally, 2 months ago, a dime dropper tipped us off that Jack Lupino, a mob boss in the Punchinello crime family, was trafficking. I went undercover, infiltrated the worst mafia family in New York. I came in from the cold and the dark. Outside the city was a cruel monster. I've been slowly working my way from the small time to the big fish, trying to get to the source of the drug. Alex and BB were my only contacts in the DEA, the only ones in this decrepit city who knew I was down here.
BB here. Something urgent has come up with Jack Lupino. You need to meet with Alex immediately at the Roscoe Street station.
I hadn't had a face-to-face with Alex since I'd gone undercover. Outside, the mercury was falling fast. It was colder than the devil's heart, raining ice pitchforks as if the heavens were ready to fall. Everyone was running for shelter like there was no tomorrow. It didn't get any better when I got to the subway. The feeling hit me like a point-blank shot straight in the face. Something was not right about this. My Beretta stirred nervously under my coat, but the train doors had already shut behind me, and I was in for the ride. Next stop, Roscoe Street Station, and Alex. The station was drenched in gloom. Alex was a ghost, nowhere to be seen. I'd have to look for him.
Alright, 8 minutes in, and we're finally in the actual gameplay of Max Payne, the video game released in 2001, as I already said, made by Remedy. What else can I say? Well, here's how this works. You look around, right, it's simple. It doesn't bother me that it's using this sort of control because it's a third-person shooter, not a first-person shooter. Right? If it were first-person, oh yeah, PC version all the way around, but it's not, so I can tolerate this. Let's open this door, and oh boy, I sure hope there's not a scripted sequence here.
Death was in the air at Roscoe Street. I'd have to find Alex fast.
You know, I've always loved that really awkward animation he has when he takes out his gun. Look at that texture quality. You know what? This game actually looks quite good for early PS2. Again, you gotta remember, this game came out in 2001, right?
Payne back for a while.
That's our main health pickup. Well, actually, it's not so much a... Well, I guess it is, yeah. It basically is just a health regen. You know, you lose health, as in... It's one of those games where they visualize the health by having your character become more red, right? In the bottom left-hand corner. And then they become less red when you take the painkillers. So, what's the combat in this game like? It's all about anticipation and observation, because you really can't survive that much damage. And even on the PC version, honestly, since the enemies are so accurate, even if you were more accurate, because I've played the PC version as well, but even when I was more accurate with a mouse, it's still all about you getting the drop on them faster than they can get the drop on you, right? If you don't know they're there, you're basically screwed. That's not to say that this game is cheap, and no, it's not really that bad. The combat is okay. Here's the thing, the combat in Max Payne was never its strongest asset. It was always the world itself around you, because it's so dingy, and in a really beautiful kind of way. I love how gritty this game is, honestly. You know, but it never feels forcefully gritty. It doesn't look like some fucking Quake-looking thing or whatever, where you just have all this dirt everywhere. I mean, this basically just looks like a regular old underground. Even 24 years later, this is basically what they all look like, no matter where you live, pretty much. You know, I don't even live in America, and I can already tell you, this is pretty much what they look like. Maybe some different ads and stuff. Kong whiskey makes you go, makes you go ape. I love that. Either way, but yeah, look, the text looks okay, I guess. Oh, are we gonna get a cutscene again? No, we're just getting a loading screen, which I'll be skipping. For your convenience, yes, I am skipping the loading screens using the power of video editing, although some people might call it a curse as well, but either way. Why am I playing the PS2 version?
No way.
Come on.
Fine, okay.
Let me just kill these dudes real quick, and then I'll tell you why. Well, for a couple reasons. One, the PC version, although it is playable, absolutely, it has a ton of issues that kind of bother me when it comes to its sound, and just these brightness settings problems, and just a bunch of, like, you know, obviously early 2000s PC game issues that just come with the territory for a lot of games. Not all, but a lot. Two, what's the second reason? Well, I'm fairly certain that not that many people have covered this. Now, granted, there's got to be like a couple PS2 or even Xbox playthroughs of this version of the game. Absolutely. I mean, if there's this relatively obscure playthrough of, so you know Rune, right? This third-person action game from the year 2000 for PC. Yeah, it also got a PS2 port in 2001 called Rune Viking Warlord, and
A massacre. These armed thugs just appeared from nowhere. We need to get help. I can make the call from the control room 1 floor up. Can you take me there?
Sure, sounds good.
I was talking about video games, but anyway, yeah, so that game also received a PS2 port, and well, fuck, what was I... Why did I bring that up, actually? Rune Viking... Okay, hold on. I have to retrace my steps in my head as to why I brought up Rune Viking Warlord, because that game... Oh, yes. Because that game actually doesn't have too many issues on PC because it's on Unreal Engine, of course, whereas this does. And as I was saying, that game actually has a... I'm talking about Rune here. There's this relatively obscure playthrough of the game's PS2 version as opposed to the PC version. So... going by that logic, and this being a much more popular title, there's bound to be other playthroughs of PS2 as opposed to PC as well. But, you know, just purely statistically, there's got to be fewer of them. And also because... Okay, this is a really stupid reason, and it's like hyper-specific to me just being retarded or something, but it's to do with the fact that, I don't know, whenever a game gets like a console release after being PC, well, this game was just a few months, really, it came to console very quickly. I mean, within the same year, you know? I think I'm not sure if it was America or Europe, but in one of the two regions it came to console in 2002, early 2002, as opposed to December 2001, but still. Let's use a painkiller real quick. Really satisfying sound design here. It sounds like he's crunching them. Like, that's just how you're supposed to eat them, like candy. Don't eat them like candy. Anyway, here we can observe these cameras. So yeah, so whenever a game gets a console release of that kind after being PC for a while, it just feels like it becomes more real. I don't know. It's something that it's to do with my upbringing and my relationship with PC versus console gaming, if that makes sense. I think I've talked about this in other videos. It's kind of like, you know, when Unreal Tournament got its PS2 release, and I was like, oh, that's the Unreal Tournament, but like it became an actual game, except like PC gaming is obviously a real thing. I'm not saying they're not real, but whatever. It's just a weird thing that like now this feels like the more game-y version of this game, if that makes sense. I'm not exactly sure how to describe it. So those are like my three reasons, two of which actually kind of making sense, one of which not really, but screw it.
I'm like a Christmas tree. The power was back on.
I'm here to enjoy this game, and I hope you enjoy it with me because it's really well made. I think it genuinely does deserve pretty much all of the praise that it's gotten over the years, and some of the critique as well. So let's just go ahead and hit the action button on this and see where it takes us.
Being subtle.
And somehow I survived that despite getting killed by much less later on in the game. Okay, whatever. I know it's video game damage inconsistent. How do I get out of this? Oh, do I hit this one? What? Hold on. I've never had. Oh, of course. It's one of those like weird like half automatically opening doors. So how does this game control on PS2 versus PC? Well, if you can't tell, come on, let me get through. It's pretty much the exact same, really. You look around like this, you can jump, you can go bullet time, you can heal. It's identical. You know, this is not one of those, oh, it's like a totally different game, like Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. No, this is the exact same game. completely identical, but it does have a little bit of auto lock on. You can disable that, by the way. You can turn off the auto aiming. But why would you do that? If you're using anything but a mouse in a game with any amount of projectile-based combat, you're going to want to have some assistance, right? I do not see myself getting through this game at least as smoothly as I am getting through it right now using my own aiming here, all right? It's just because, here's the thing, even the auto aiming can't save you if you're in an unfavorable situation. Like, you have to be on top of things if you want to survive. I think this is going to play a loading screen, that's why I'm kind of stalling.
The rusty door led to an abandoned part of the station, closed off since the early 40s. Something big was going down at Roscoe Street. Maybe that's why Alex had wanted to meet me here. Maybe not. One way or the other, I was going to find out.
Now, I'm gonna be 100% with you guys. I'm not 100% familiar with this game's pacing and structure. I did a little bit of a practice playthrough right before recording this. That is to say, I made it through about 2.5 hours through the game, right? So a couple stages in, and I'm just not exactly sure how I'm going to pace this series, because with games that are a little more rigid, like a 2D platformer where it's just world, level, boss, whatever, it's really easy for me to structure my Let's Plays like this. But here, I think I'm going to go based on time and maybe story sensitivity, as in, say nothing much is happening in the plot and it's about time for me to end, I'll end it. If let's say the 20-something minute mark is approaching, but something really big happens in the plot, I'm not just going to stop there. You know, I'm not going to blue balls you guys like that. Even though that might actually technically be the meta option, the better way to do it, but I wouldn't want to be that kind of content creator. So, no, I'm just going to show you whatever needs to be shown at that time. Although, as of right now, we are 18 minutes in, and not much is happening. Of course, we got our little setup. Now we know more about the character, about their backstory. We know what's happening, and I think we're gonna end the episode in about 5 or so minutes. I think. Either way, what is the combat really like here? Why is it so dependent on reaction times? Well, simple, because everything is hit scan pretty much. You know, you take a lot of damage, you don't heal too much, there's no regen, of course. You have to use these painkillers, and you have to ration them, absolutely.
Now that's spooky. Jack Lapino, yeah, spooky. But also, it's like the failure count is rising.
Yeah, I wouldn't joke about it if I was you.
Yeah? The station's not secured. Someone decided to play hero upstairs. That's all we need.
Are you guys done? Okay, I can talk now. I love that old school, like, MIDI monophonic fucking ringtone.
Come on.
Okay, they've said those lines before. I can kill them now. There you go, boom. It's interesting that this game actually doesn't apply as much slow motion to the like time stretching to the audio as a lot of other games would. Like when characters speak, they usually their voices stay normal. You're gonna want to actually whip out your what was that game? Kingpin Life of Crime style little lead pipe, because there's all these crates here for you to destroy, and you want to do that because they'll sometimes contain lots of useful stuff, mainly painkillers. Painkillers are the most magical thing in this game. You want to find them as often as you can because you need to heal. When you're taking as much damage as you are in this kind of game, you got to be able to heal reliably. And when I find some, I'm going to be so fucking happy. Not necessarily right now, but...
the hell was that?
Yeah, what the hell was that? Look at those rats. Nice details. Really, this version isn't as compromised as some people made it out to be, you know? It genuinely upsets me when even as like a PC guy primarily, right? I mean, I'm literally playing this on my computer. Don't tell whoever runs Sony. I don't know. Oh, cutscene? No, just a loading screen. Okay, I'm actually going to talk over this loading screen, though. So basically, it genuinely kind of upsets me whenever I see people essentially writing off the console version of a game from around this time, especially, because as if like it's completely inferior, complete garbage.
Hold on here. Give me the detonator.
What are you talking about?
The detonator.
I thought you'd bring it.
You were supposed to bring it.
Yeah, right.
Because to be honest, this is honestly a really great port. It runs nice and smooth. It doesn't really look that much worse than the PC version. It just has far fewer technical issues due to age. You know, like, again, I genuinely believe that this is going to sound kind of... Maybe it'll sound a little bit presumptuous, but I do think that in the future, you know, when a lot of older PC games, even games that are not that old now but will become older, just due to incompatibilities with newer versions of DirectX or something like that, or DRM especially, when that's already happening, really emulation is going to be the way to go. Like right now, most people are going to be playing these games either way on, you know, the emulators from the time or of the appropriate console, especially if it's an exclusive, of course. Hold on, there's a little bit of dialogue here.
The door had been welded shut ages ago and the bomb was missing a detonator.
But aside from that, I would not be surprised if like in 10 years, people just completely stop playing 7th generation PC games and just emulate their closest console version. Like, everyone's just using Xenia. A lot of people are using Xenia either way, mainly for the exclusives, of course, but, I mean, honestly, I'm currently playing... I played for Sonic Generations on Xenia, because I just could not be fucked with the original PC port. Because it's just like, hey, do you know, Sonic Generations, I have a graphics card. What?
New York's finest are gonna be here soon. So stick to the plan. We've got our own private exit route. In and out, do your thing. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
What's a graphics card, Sonic Generations is like? Because honestly, hopefully they fixed that with Shadow Generations. I wouldn't know, I played the Switch version. But, you know, I really hope they fixed that, because and that wasn't just me. I thought it was just a me issue because I'm me and everything just doesn't work for me for some reason. No, I say that as this game is running perfectly smoothly and everything's recording properly. I really shouldn't be joking about those things because sometimes things genuinely do go wrong. Either way, I really hope that Shadow Generations has fixed a lot of those issues where basically it just doesn't know you have a GPU. And it either forces, if you're on like a laptop or something, no pun intended, it forces to use your integrated graphics, or it just doesn't run. It just sends you into a loop of constantly going, hey, check the graphics configuration, stupid. Also, I wonder if there's an enemy here. That kind of reminds me of that one thing from Tomb Raider 1, where the camera locks onto the statue, which comes to life, but you wouldn't know that if it weren't for... whatever. Nice little parallel. Except that I actually really like this game, and I've honestly never cared for Tomb Raider. Ever. I've never liked the Tomb Raider games. I'm sorry. I like Lara, you know, hot and all, but like I genuinely cannot give a shit about the gameplay of the Tomb Raider games. Not the more modern, basically just Uncharted ones. Not the older, more puzzle-focused ones. Any of them. It's just not my thing, you know? Like, even this game is, like, on the border of what I enjoy, but the style and the moment-to-moment gameplay is so good that I'm totally willing to do a playthrough of this game. I really enjoy this shit, you know, for the most part. And hopefully it'll stay enjoyable. Just gotta get a little bit of a cutscene again.
We come to you now live from the crime scene.
Who is this?
Right back at you.
This is Deputy Chief Jim Bravura from the NYPD. You are to cease your criminal activities and surrender immediately.
Sure thing, Jim. Me and the boys have been talking, and everyone's real sorry. They'll never do it again.
Who the hell is this?
Being placed at the scene of a bank robbery wouldn't have tipped the odds in my favor.
I love how the subtitles have the word hell emphasized when in reality the voice actor doesn't emphasize it.
The table.
Okay, Max, you and I are gonna have a problem if you keep talking over me or I keep talking over you.
The bank robbers have been after Acer Corporation bonds. The Acer success story had recently been on every channel and on the cover of every magazine.
You know, on one hand, I'm kind of annoyed at the fact that I have to keep essentially compromising my commentary for the sake of the game's plot, but at the same time, I love it when games are like this, because it means I don't have to put in quite as much work to be consistently entertaining, because the game is consistently entertaining.
The robbers had left their tools on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Judging by the detonators, the crooks had bought enough explosives to send Lady Liberty into orbit.
Dude, I fucking wish I had a voice like that. And you know what? It still baffles me when, like, I'm watching some YouTuber I like, and they have a much deeper voice than I do. And I hear them say some shit like, I just turned 22 years old. And I'm like, what the? I mean, granted, that would probably be like a decade ago. So now they'd be 32. But I'm just like, wait, I'm almost 24. And I sound like I'm 12. I'm very insecure about that. Look at that lighting effect. I fucking love old lighting that's just a shape. It's just a shape. There's no real lighting. That's honestly really cool. I wonder if there are games that base their entire art direction around... Oh, fuck. We got some dudes. You really do want to be using your bullet time, okay? I'm not a huge fan of the whole, like, you know, jumping fucking... Whoa, oh, and we're dead. How far back is that going to send me, though? That's the question. Let's find out. Speed this up. Oh, no way. Am I...
Hold on here. Give me the detonator.
Okay.
What are you talking
See you guys in a couple seconds. Alright, I'm almost back to where we were before I got offed. And this time I'm going to use a slightly more alternative method of saving my progress, because you got to remember this game has a pretty dated way of, like, you know, its checkpoint system. So let's just go ahead and do this. I just hit a key on my keyboard, and now we're not going to have to worry about anything. I mean, I'll try and keep my save stating to a minimum, because this game actually has this thing called, like, tension and atmosphere, which most of the games that I play generally don't have, so I don't really mind just kind of breaking them. Let's heal up, because I'm fucking dying. But, with a game like this, I really do have to respect that.
Hold it! Max! Jesus, you almost gave me a heart attack! I nearly shot you!
Alex, I'm glad to see you.
What the hell's going on? There are more corpses here than at the city morgue!
It's an armed robbery, a tunnel job straight to the Roscoe Bank vault through the old station wall. Is this why... This is Lupino's gig?
This is Lupino's doing? Lupino's men? Really?
You sure know how to pick a place? Can you get through?
No, it's locked. We gotta get out of here. If it's Lupino, it's... Alex? Alex!
There was nothing I could do. He was dead. I could tell by the empty, accusing stare of his eyes.
Well, that was tragic. They just killed off a character that I have no idea who even was. Okay, now I imagine that any normal sane person would actually have developed an attachment to this character via context, because it is possible to genuinely care for a character even without necessarily spending a lot of time with them, just by association. It's more difficult. It's very difficult to write a character of that kind, but it is possible. You know, I've definitely had those cases myself where it's like, I've barely known this character in real time, but it's like based on the context of the story, I actually would kind of hate it if they killed him off for fuck's sake, Jesus Christ. Okay, there is a tiny bit of health regen as you just saw, but ow. Okay, this time let's try and stay a little bit farther away from the deadly explosions and take advantage of said alternative saving methods that I've mentioned, because goddamn, I did not expect the game to become challenging this early on. It really wasn't. Like, I didn't die the first time I played through the stage, so I don't know what the fuck happened this time, because again, this is my second time playing through a lot of these areas, because, you know, practice playthrough before you play a game for a Let's Play is generally a good idea. Now, I did a very, very small amount of practice, to be fair. I'm not going to pretend I beat the whole fucking game, but either way, it's still quite surprising when that kind of thing happens. Let's go ahead and heal. And, yeah, let's see where we gotta go now. Fortunately, this game is quite linear in its design. You know, you're never gonna wonder where to go. But what was I talking about earlier? Oh, yeah, if you hit some button, I don't know, in my case, it's shift, you could do this. And I never use that. I don't really get the point. Like, it looks cool, you know, it's 2001 after all, so you gotta do that, but I don't really get why you'd want to do it.
Alex had kept me relatively sane for the past 3 years. Now I didn't know how I felt. Somehow he had stumbled upon something big and ended up stepping on Jack Lupino's toes. Lupino ran his racket of sex, drugs, and contract killings from a sleazy hotel in a slum block of tenements. The NYPD was closing in. I could hear the sirens. Their wail was a crescendo. Lupino thought he could get us by taking Alex out and leaving me to take the fall for it. All he had gotten was my attention. I went for the hotel first. It was a sad old thing with flickering lamps and faded colors, cheap mobster punks and tired-eyed prostitutes. I walked straight in, playing at Bogart like I'd done 100 times before. The place was run by a couple of murdering mobsters with shark smiles. The Finito brothers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Payne in the butt. Payne to the max.
You're killing me. You make that up yourselves, or you get some wino downstairs to come up with it? Don't answer that. A rhetorical question. I got something for the boss. Lupino around?
That kind of depends on who's asking. A friend or a junk squad plan. Don't answer. It's one of them, how do you put it, rhetorical questions. Lupino ain't here, but he says bye.
Lupino wasn't in his cheap hotel. Instead, I ran into the Finito brothers. My cover had been blown. The door slammed shut behind me. And then I was dodging bullets like raindrops.
Payne in the butt. Ha ha! Payne to the max. Junk squad kid. Got a ticket to Marble City for you. Eat first.
Okay, I think this is a pretty good spot to end it. We're going to continue with this firefight next time in Max Payne for the PlayStation 2. I'll see you guys next time in part 2.